another Linux GameCast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. This week, Alien Isolation is delayed, but put down those chair forks. This could be a good thing. And, a Kickstarter project nopes with 30,000 wet stinky caches. So remember, kids, demo or GTFO.
Humble wants your money each and every month, and they're not even going to give you Linux games in exchange for it. Xbox Media Center is coming to Steam machines. It's a little less stupid than it actually sounds.
Distance revamps reality. It looks the same, but it's got something new under the hood. Nvidia kills Grid in favor of GeForce Now, not to be confused with PlayStation Now, which is clearly ripping off.
All right, I'm Vince Stone here at LGC Actual, joined every week by the man up north in the chilly Canadian land of Toronto's.
Help, my brain's been uploaded into a robot!
All the way from Space Portugal with a glaring, preaching headache. Look at him. He's in full NPR mode of quietness.
Spoilers, bitch.
And together with Shut Realm Dynamic, we do form a bit of a cocaine Voltron every Saturday night doing this business live. Before we get started, we always like to see what's going on in each other's life organs. I guess I'll start because, once a year, you get the pest guys to come out and spray everything, so you get down in the basement and you pull all the stuff away from the corners. I found this.
It's a GeForce, all right.
It's effectively, this is from the era to where they put scantily clad women on the boxes.
That's racist, Ben.
It's completely racist. It does support up to a 2048 by 1536. And this baby's mint. I'm sure you could probably, I guess it's like a 6 series. Who knows? Probably doesn't even have a fan on it. But yeah, that's my cool story, bro. What's up, J-Baby?
Oh, I was just working all week, man. Day in, day out. I working so hard. Today was the only chance I actually got to play Soma. So I got a couple hours into that. And that was fun. But we'll talk about that in the CHAIRQUISITION. What about Mr. Sensitive Ears?
Yeah, you can shout all you want. I got you down to 20%, so fuck you. Yeah, on my end, I'm basically on vacation. Everyone got off early work on Friday, so I got home, played some Soma. Today I woke up, played some more Soma, actually finished the game, so that's me.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's the horse up to this week, baby?
The horse is giving away some free Steam keys for its brand new game, Prick Simulator, but apparently Gay Ben wasn't too happy about it. It's our Steam Works
Update of the week. But yes,
yeah.
Apparently it's not just for Greenlight, getting positive votes on Greenlight. You actually can get Steam keys if you leave positive reviews on a game.
What? No.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe you, man. That sounds wrong. People would never do that.
Yeah, apparently it got so bad that even Valve got involved.
Oh, shit.
So yeah. 2MG, let's see if I can find his name. No, it doesn't say in his Steam profile. I don't care. Yeah, he actually went to the epic quest of the 4 crystals. That's a stupid name for a game, but whatever. He says, it's come to our attention that Aldorlia Games and Rose Portal Games have given gifts or otherwise compensated some Steam customers to get them to leave reviews for the game Epic Quest of the 4 Crystals. This is a manipulation of the Steam user review system, which we don't allow. Yeah, I think someone should let Valve know that this has been happening for far longer than this particular shit game.
Pedro, I don't believe you. I mean, I see billions of high-quality titles with 6 positive reviews, and they're
like
complete
Earth 2066.
And even the ones that get shitty reviews, like, say, Pro Evolution Soccer 2016, Ubisoft has figured out that if you... No, not Ubisoft. Konami figured out that if you create a Steam bundle
with only that game in
it, and just have the one game in it, it actually obfuscates the review scores. So I don't know, unless these little bits of common knowledge actually become so widespread that someone at Valve has to deal with it every single day. They don't do a damn thing about it. Apparently, this one got enough media attention for people in that company to pick up on it. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have done it here either.
All right. Well, let's talk about something a bit more mobile.
Yeah, so you guys, do you use the Steam app at all on your phone?
I fucking might now.
No.
Yeah. So Steam has been putting some work into this recently. A couple weeks ago, we covered that they improved the GUI. They brought it more in line with the existing Steam visual aesthetic. But now they're adding some more stuff. They're adding support for watching game streams and item trades and other stuff that you can do with the community that actually makes their Android app worth installing on your phone. Because before, it was really just this chat client and it let you buy games. But now it has two-factor authentication. You can trade, you can interact with the community, you can make reviews, forum posts, and you can, watch streams. That actually makes it worthwhile. It's good that Valve is actually making a proper mobile offering.
No, I mean, definitely when I was looking at that, I was like, man, who cares? Oh, you can watch streams on it now?
Yep.
Might have slight use for that. Didn't you say you watched a few streams or something to that notion?
No, I think Roommate was actually, but that wasn't on the, that was just through the PC. That was not over the Android app.
B-Man, you've installed it, right?
They still have to enable broadcasting from Linux. That's still a pretty big... But yeah, it's actually good that they're improving the Android client for Steam, because that piece of junk was just about useless.
Oh, come on. It had that 2005 retro aesthetic to it.
Yes, and
you
you
could talk to your Steam friends on the bus while they're playing games that you can't because you're on an Android device.
Yep.
But up next, Steam OS has a brand new update, Brewmaster Update 2.34. And basically it fixes a whole crap ton of issues with the Xbox One, and Xbox 360 controller. Which is good, considering that the Xbox controller has kind of become the de facto standard for PC gaming. So you're going to piss off a lot of people if you don't have proper support in your damn operating system. And the nice thing is, since these are all like kernel fixes for like the XPad driver and whatever the
yeah, I mean, it
Xbox
definitely
One
has
driver
the new driver for that YOLO Swag Dorito Xbox. You can screw in new things for more. They had the nerve. Xbox was like, for better precision gaming on a controller.
Oh yes. It's better when we're talking about controllers. It's like saying it's the good kind of cancer, as you like to say all the time.
P-Man, correct me if I'm right. I have never had a problem configuring with the Xbox controller, but you got the PS Moon technology over there.
Yeah, I have the PS2 DualShock. It was actually nice because you could sort of reconfigure it through Steam Big Picture mode, but they seem to have removed that functionality for every other controller that's not the Steam one. And since those aren't actually out yet, I'm kind of left out in the cold. It just says X input controller detected.
The other thing was a lot of these problems actually had to do with the wireless Xbox controllers, which is why you probably didn't have any issues, because you just plug it in via USB.
Was it working with the PS4? You got the PS4 Bluetooth. Right?
I mean, I've been using this for the reviews for like the past 2 months now.
Right.
It's fine.
No issues. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah, so
Yes.
up next!
Speaking of controllers, Valve blames developers for lingering VR nausea issues.
Doesn't this kind of look like a guy who was riding the mountain bike?
Kinda, yeah.
It's
Except he's wearing the Vive. But apparently someone at Valve said that, as more people start to adopt VR, game developers should be more aware of how the games will look and how they will, quote-unquote, feel when they're being played with a VR headset. And they said, if you use your hands, here's the quote, being able to walk around the room and actually use your hands to interact with virtual objects makes VR, quote-unquote, exponentially better. So, yeah, it's yet another way for Valve to skirt from the responsibility of making sure that games work properly in their platform. it's kind of easy to blame developers for everything when, you're Valve.
Well,
you
I don't
own
know.
the store and you don't give a shit.
Oculus Rift, which we'll probably never see on the Linuxes anymore because Facebook's. Valve
Probably.
launched straight out. They're like, hey, man, we got the controllers and spatial recognition and all that. And Oculus went, oh, shit, we got to do that too. But, what I took from that is Valve's like, hey, man, we got the tools already built in. I mean, when this shit's coming out this year and it's going to work like this, so maybe use that. I don't know. I've never gotten sick with a VR other than I was like, yep, that's neat. Next.
I mean, it makes sense to some degree. I mean, if what's being presented right to your eye holes is different than what you're actually doing, it can create some discongruity in your brain, cause you to throw up a whole bunch. I don't know. Everyone's banking on VR, but I really think that what's actually going to take hold is probably a couple years down the road. Something that some guys are building in their basement right now that's going to be completely game changing when it's finally finished. But what the hell do I know?
Who knows? Let's talk about a more sit-back experience.
Oh, yes. This is the early testing Kodi is now available for SteamOS. It is a repository that you can add to your Steam machine just via apt. And it will enable Kodi, which, for those of you who are unaware, is the new name for Xbox Media Center. So, I mean, this is a good thing, because a lot of people were complaining, hey, Xbox or Steam machines don't really have any multimedia support. It took them forever to get, like, a competent audio player. Well, now all your streaming media needs are taken care of because, XBM, or not, yeah, it's XBM.
XBM.
It's Kodi now.
Okay, Kodi,
God damn it! Fuck! Shit!
Another thing I got to notice for this, what would make it actually usable for me is it also will install and work with Plex. I use Plex just because I'm old and I'm lazy, and boom, you drop that in there. You got it on your tablets, you got it on your mobiles, and all that other business. But yeah, that's definitely good to see. When was the last time you built a Myth TV box, B-Man?
Yeah, I don't think Myth TV actually works here in Portugal. I'd have to try it. But no, this is good because with Kodi working, you can get the unofficial Netflix and Hulu add-ons for it and all the pirated stuff too. At which point you have to ask yourself, what else do you really need?
It would be neat if they had this kind of thing available for the Steam Link when it comes out too, so it can act as sort of an impromptu Chromecast. But again, it's nice that the community is stepping up and providing tools, and I think that is one of SteamOS's biggest strengths, is that because it's based on Linux, you can just install Linux programs on there, and they do a lot of cool stuff. But it's time to order the special then.
Hello, my baby. Put a stop to that. We received this email notification Tuesday at 4:55 Eastern Standard Time AM. That's 9:55 in London from our good friends at Feral. That said, Alien Isolation. This is like the day, a couple hours after it was supposed to be launched.
Yeah.
It's been delayed due to issues that affects both platforms and will not be released today. And I totally, absolutely, in no way did I stay up until 5 a.m. in order to yoink the 40 gigabyte download so I could go to bed and wake up and play it. Nope, didn't happen.
Totally not.
I mean, as long as they're trying to identify these issues and plug them before release, I mean, you can't really fault them for that. Would you rather have a good game or a shitty one?
We don't really know exactly what's going on outside of just random wild speculation, but hopefully maybe they're taking another look at, the AMD side and getting that up to snuff. That's the best I could think. We don't know.
Well, I mean, what with the Macs having all AMD hardware, it does lend some credence to that theory.
Yeah. But one thing that did come out was an update for Distance. They called it the Revamp Reality Update. And the biggest, most important thing is that Unity 5 is now available. It was already available on the experimental branch.
Yeah, they have the improved car color custom, so I can finally get my General Lee.
You can actually get some better hues with the car and the glowy bits and everything. But yeah, it's got Unity 5 running under the hood, and everything else that was on the experimental branch until now has been kind of moved up to the quote-unquote stable early access branch.
It's a screenshot of Soma.
Oh, snap!
Definitely looking at this. I love the fucking game. I think even last week, they're like, oh, we got something else, it's kind of stable. I was like, you guys really need to get out of early access. But definitely with the VR thing, the only way I'm tempted, because I think it would be neat, to look to the left and right, but the only way I'd really want to play a VR game, especially a speed racist game, is with like one of those, hydraulic or pneumatic chairs that move you and all that business.
So you get all the G's.
There's mention of a story mode in here. What kind of story can Distance possibly have?
They're trying. I mean, there's always been a story mode that tries to tell a story that you're like, why?
About what?
Cars,
about
man.
how the civilization got destroyed or something. I've played through it a couple of times. It's
the only way to move is to move forward. Try
basically.
Forward. But speaking of driving, you know what drives the show? Donors, wonderful, wonderful people who donate their time and money to support us and to help us produce the show. And one of the main avenues you can do this through is patreon.com/LinuxGameCast. But there is a bit of a caveat, because there was a little bit of a breach.
We definitely
I think we owe it to our fans to discuss this and to discuss the implications of this.
Chainsaw.
So Ben, you have an entire paragraph on this, so I'll just leave it to you.
Which I'm looking for frantically, as he says, because I left it way up top.
Live, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's definitely a good thing. Not a good thing, but I mean, the breach was fucking horrible, but we do need to talk about it. I mean, just got to change your passwords. The passwords were, protected using bcrypt, but better safe than sorry. You never want to deal with that. J-Man backed that up. They didn't have credit card information stored because that's just good hygiene.
Any business that handles monetary volumes of this scale is under PCI. Generally, will fall under PCI scope in order if they want to actually take Visa and MasterCard payments. One of that mandates is you cannot actually have credit card numbers in your database. So.
And, we've actually had a couple people. I've been contacted by a few, and they're like, hey, man, it's hacked and all that business, so we're going to cancel the Patreon. It's completely understandable. Not going to say anything. I've always had my thing is usually a site is most secure right after they get hacked, because then it's like that, shit.
Yeah, they're on turbo paranoid mode now.
You got to remember, I mean, the same shit happened to Patreon and a couple other sites. Yeah, PayPal. In that business, but if you want to go back to PayPal, that's still there under support the shows, and it'll be a lot of not a ton of extra work, but I'll work out a better system to where if you want to go back to just PayPal, you can do that, and I'll make sure you get the Patreon rewards, because this is not anything we have control over, and you got to remember, Patreon is not some huge corporation. It's Pompamoose, husband and wife team that started this, so other people could get paid. They don't have a ton of cash and people backing them. So, yeah.
But we do have some new donors. We have Dr. Kraz, David M, MLW, Adam S, and Adam H. No Adam I or Adam T, and that just makes me really, really sad. But we love you guys. We enjoy your continued support. And at the moment, we are now, $20 away from the Linux Gamecast Weekly Wednesdays, because some people bump their donations down. It's cool if you do that. Just if you don't try and get the added benefits. Just stick at the level you're going to be at. Don't bullshit us, and we won't bullshit you. But up next, oh wow, it's a big news segment. Humble pulls some shit. We'll talk about that a little more next.
There's a lot of Humble coming up. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's the news, and to just break a little bit from the usual routine of having some drivers starting off the news, well, I'd ask you if you were ready to humble, but considering what they've been up to this week, we're not going to. This is the Humble Indie Bundle 15. It comes with Sir, You Are Being Hunted.
Already own it.
QUBE, Director's Cut. Goodbye, Derponia, because I can't say Deponia, it's just Derponia for me. A 66% off.
Comes with a coupon.
Oh my
coupon
God.
for 66% off for Planetary Annihilation Titans. And then if you pay more than the average, you get Skullgirls plus all the DLC. That's nice. Planetary Annihilation itself, Xenonauts, and more games to unlock soon. Now, if you pay more than 10, or 10, which is what I paid, you also get the Double Fine Gang Beasts thing. It's not anywhere near complete yet. So keep that in mind. But yeah, I paid those $10 just so I could get Gang Beasts because I was curious. I'd seen it played, but it does not support online multiplayer. It's just local. So,
What Pedro neglected to mention is that if you pay more than $25 or if you pay $70, they will mail you toys because that's
no
what
one
Grumman
gives
likes
a
to play
shit.
with.
I don't know.
That's what an online video
looking
game
at this
store needs.
business. I was like, yay, Skullgirls, it's finally out. And I think everyone who's ever been on Linux Gamecast Weekly, we've had this game for like 4 months now.
Yeah.
But hey, at least they shipped the FSM damn thing. Unfortunately, this does mean an end to our time-honored tradition of ripping on Skullgirls. Rest in peace, Skullgirls joke, 2013 through 2015. That's out. Played a little bit with the Strider, then later on we actually played some Skullgirls, and we didn't have any issues with some recording of that. We'll probably be getting to that game this month. J-Man, you got any extra thoughts? Pay what you want for 3 games and a coupon?
It's 3 games and a coupon. Previous Humble Indie bundles had at least 4 games to begin with, and more games for paying above the average. This is complete crap. This is an insult. A slap in the face to Linux gamers. But there's more, isn't it? Yes.
Oh, yes.
Because
yes, there is.
not only can you wait like once every couple months to get a Linux game, now you can pay money every month and not get any Linux games. This is the Humble Monthly program. And it's essentially like a digital loot crate. You pay $12 a month, and every month they'll send you some random games. The problem is that it says right on this page, oh, you'd start playing Legend of Grimrock 2, not come to Linux. What game is this playable on? Steam for Windows, sometimes more. So, you get no cross-platform, you get a bunch of games that you may have already owned, but too bad, because you're still paying $12 a month to Humble. And, this is the reason why Overgrowth is in perpetual development. They just gotta cash out moving.
I mean, yes, for $12 on the mothering chance. Maybe if you're lucky, you might get something other than a Windows game. Humble weekly bundles and all this business has proven to us 9 times out of 13 it's going to be Windows completely only. And how far you have fallen, Humble. P-Man?
No, seriously. Who in their right mind is going to pay $12 a month for random games that you probably already own? And you know what? Humble is doing their store thing. That's fine. They do the bundles. That's great. Now, this digital loot crate type thing, like Jordan said, with just random games, fuck that shit. And they say that 5% of it goes to charity. If it was 95% going to charity, I might consider that. But at 5%, you're just asking to be made
honestly,
fun of.
This is what you're paying for a WoW subscription, so you might as well just go blow your money on World of Warcraft and be a legendary hero in that. And hey, at least that game runs in wine. But
And it had
we got
Linux
some
clients
driver
at one
news,
point.
but not the kind of driver news you'd expect.
That's what we like to call Oops Ubuntu. NVIDIA graphics driver vulnerability Ubuntu security notice. USN 2747-1 rolls right off the tongue. NVIDIA graphics 304 updates, 340, 346. Seriously, this affects 1504, 1404 LTS, and 1204 LTS. If you're still running these, I mean, you're talking Debian stable versions of these graphic drivers, which you probably should have updated already. But yeah, Ubuntu has released a security issue. This could lead to root exploitation at some point, right?
Yes.
Yeah, privileged code
escalation.
execution through the installer, I believe it was.
P-Man, you think it's because of the damn jockeys?
Yeah,
right?
they include Jockey in that list of vulnerabilities, and I'm guessing that it is the specific packages that are being installed through Jockey that are causing that particular privilege escalation, because we haven't heard anything from the binary package that you can download from the Nvidia website actually having that problem. So I'm guessing it's Jockey.
So actually, you're wrong, because I just checked, because I made a comment in the show notes about the CVE thing on the NVD not being updated. This is actually an NVIDIA driver problem that apparently it affects everything up to 352.41. on Linux, and apparently it also affects Windows too. If I'm actually just reading it off of the NVD right now. I'll throw a link to that in the show notes if you're interested. But if you're still on those drivers, upgrade. Latest ones. 355 is out. Do it.
And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I mean, it is your responsibility to keep things updated. And kind of Ubuntu still wants you to run like 304 out of the box. It's like, come on, guys.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Up next.
Drink! Yes. Wine has gotten some new stuff. They've added a new branch called staging. What is this? Basically, if you remember way back when CSMT first got introduced, you needed to use a special version of special patched wine. Staging is now the official place that all these experimental changes that haven't really made it into the mainline development branch are going to be going into. So if you like the absolute, completely ass bleeding edge wine, then this is the place to go. And I mean, it makes sense from a project perspective. This is actually a combination between like the original wine staging project and wine proper. So it makes sense to bring it all under one roof.
Well, I definitely think it does make sense to bring everything together because wine staging had a problem. I mean, there was kind of a schism between, wine proper and wine staging, and they're like, I wouldn't really get in the upstream bits, but this whole point of this is to get everybody contributing to the same dice, correct?
Yeah. Everyone, basically put everyone on the same page, which is better for the wine project as a whole because it allows new features to be developed in parallel and tested with features that are being developed in like the development branch. And hell, Firefox has been doing this for a while. They had like Nightly, which is the crazy fuck you unstable. They had Aurora, which was semi-hardened and had some of the new features, and then they had regular plain old Firefox. Pedro, you mentioned that Fedora did something similar since F21.
Yeah, Fedora, since Fedora 21, they've actually been using the wine staging branch. It's been working great so far. You've seen that Elder Scrolls Online tutorial thing I did on how to get it running through wine. That's wine staging.
Fedora is using wine development last time I checked, which was like a couple weeks ago. But one thing I'm curious about is this going to be the avenue in which they start delivering initial DirectX 11 and 10 support into mainline wine? I don't know.
Well, basically, yeah. I mean, I think this will have the effect of getting the band together so they can focus on getting DX10 and DX11 and all that goodness, and we will no longer have to deal with virtual programming.
Ooh, yes. One day, again, my pipe dream. This wine will become like the main Win32 API, and people will just not develop for Windows. They'll just develop for wine.
But for the low price of $7.99 wet stinky caches.
$7.99 a month. You get about 75 games currently on your Shield tablet or on the Nvidia Shield Android TV console thing. This is the Nvidia GeForce Now, which comes as the paid replacement to the Nvidia Grid service, which was previously available on the tablet and the console thing. So now if you want to pay those $7.99 a month, you get minimal lag, especially if you're playing with the Nvidia controller. They actually like to tout that they have the best, almost lag-free experience using their controller, even locally. So yeah, it's all right. I actually tried Grid a couple of times, but there is no server close to Portugal, and my wireless isn't all that good. So it wasn't ideal, but it was still perfectly playable. So I guess good on them, but calling it GeForce Now and the article that we have linked in the show notes, the first time I read through it, I'm like, what the hell do they mean with this? It's not very clear, because I actually thought they're moving this from Android to PC and calling it GeForce Now instead. No! It's still an Android thing. It's still going to be...
really confuse the fuck out of people, because this only works with the Shield and the Shield, but not with the Shield. Seriously, that Buffalo, I'm not lying there. I definitely love NVIDIA for the Linux discrete GPU support. And unless this does launch on like Steam for Linux or just the PC, this is dead on mothering a rival. And even then, you would have to definitely put the server in my basement next to the YouTube ad server, not the actual YouTube video server, because, that just lags like hell. And I'm kind of worried about this. I think J-Man's going to address it further, but even on my gigabit home network, just streaming the Steam sometimes gets kind of the laggy sauce.
Yeah, this is on live part. You might remember that game streaming service from a couple of years ago. I don't know. Maybe if Google Fiber was everywhere, I'd say this might have a chance to succeed. This might just be me living in Canada with garbage internet, but who knows? One thing I got asked though is who are they targeting with this service? The 4 people who own the Nvidia set-top box? Pedro with both the Portugal Shield tablets? I have no idea.
Here's the other one.
Blam!
Double fisting.
Blam! Come on, explode. No, but I mean, like, who's going to be the target market? I don't really think that the Nvidia set-top box sold all that well, especially with Steam machines coming down the corner, especially with like existing consoles in place right now. I don't really think they're going to find much of a market foothold, considering that one of the big things is that SteamOS is using their streaming technology. So maybe they're putting this out there with the intent of, oh yeah, and our super awesome ally Valve is now integrating this into their software. Use that! Give us money! Woo!
It would be good, especially we talked about the Nvidia beta thing of being able to play local-only multiplayer online if they did something
the
like
browser,
that.
Yeah.
Who knows? But we need to talk about the future of TV.
Future! Yes. Yes. Epic Games is Tim Sweeney. You might know him as the guy who rocks our socks on a near weekly basis with the awesome shit that's happening with the
I thought he was the barber. All right, never mind.
Anyways, yeah, he's talking about VR, and he's saying how Epic is saying that Epic has considered VR to be the future, and that everyone should get on it, and they're behind it 100%. And Ben, you bring up a very interesting point about racing wheels.
Well, I mean, it's something I want to talk about, Brad, because anyone of my vintage, we remember the first go-around, and it was not that the VR was horrible. I mean, it was horrible. It ultimately boiled down to people didn't like wearing shite on their heads. And I kind of want to be wrong, but I think we will see the adoption of VR headset and gaming in-home about as common as you would see somebody with a high-end racing wheel. Definitely something that you probably know somebody that'll have one. Maybe they still kind of use it. More than likely, it'll still be in their junk closet because they used it for a month and went, all right, that was the thing. And that happened. I think that's probably the best adoption rate scenario that I can come up with.
Possibly, and a lot of the article is, the future of the technology is going to be amazing. You're going to be able to do all this really cool stuff. But what about market now? Because this product is launching now. People are going to start buying it. The reviews are going to come out. And if everyone isn't on board and it's an inconsistent experience from game to game, it's like Ben said, it's going to fizzle out. It's going to be the racing wheel.
Yeah, I want to bring up, man, because to have a proper 3D experience, I mean, you're going to need a serious rig.
Yeah, serious one. I think the minimum system requirements currently for the Oculus Rift are a GTX 970 and a quad-core processor. They recommend Intel, obviously. But, Jordan, you were saying that last point you were making, I cannot remember, but I disagreed with it. What was it?
The Wii thing? I don't know. That was just sort of a theory. That maybe they're banking on the whole ditching the
right. You were talking about the now. Let's see. If Steam itself was relying on the now, it would be dead right now. Because when it first came out, when it first released, it was shit. It was a piece of junk. The Steam machines, when they first released, they're probably going to be called flops for the first couple of years. So yeah, I don't mind this whole waiting on the future, having it released right now, but just being actually good in the next couple of years.
Well, I kind of think the comparison with Steam machines is a bit off because you're talking hardware versus software. Steam is a software company, and they constantly, we don't want to get into the hardware.
and now they're getting into the hardware business. I mean, Pedro, you do raise a fair point. I don't know. It's lots of talk about the future and no showing us iterative steps. But yeah, the final point I want to bring up about this is, maybe it's going to have the Wii effect of like, hey, playing video games isn't hunched over a TV with a controller anymore. You can go around and act and whatnot. That's
smack into walls and trip over shit.
Exactly. That's what caused the Wii's popularity. People were throwing Wiimotes through their televisions and
It's
shit
going
like
to
that.
be
They're
awesome.
still
But
buying
let's
it like
talk
hotcakes.
about Duke Nukem Forever. It's also known as Overgrowth Weekly, because it's the game Overgrowth that has been in development for 7 years. It's currently on early access, and they've got a few updates for Q&A number 16.
We're working on it, guys. Seriously,
this has been in development for 7 years. I remember when this first started showing up in around 2008. It kind of looked genuinely impressive. I mean, it's a rabbit fighting game from an indie studio. I was like, it's the spiritual successor to not Overgrowth, Lugaru. But in 2015, man, it looks kind of dated. And a couple of months back, they were even thinking about switching engines, which even aligns them closer to my analogy of the Duke Nukem Forever. This is our Duke Nukem Forever. Period. J-Man?
Yeah, it's the death knell. We need to switch engine, guys. It's totally not going to impact our development cycle. Woohoo! But, I mean, yeah, really, coming on 7 years of development, you're not really making Metro here. You're making a rabbit fighting game. Or, maybe you're making a Rab-bot fighting game, and that explains why it's taking Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, to get it actually finished. Who knows?
Jordan, it's priced to sell in early access.
Oh, yeah, $35. It's so affordable for an incomplete game
to
that
ask
will never
for a
be
refund
finished.
less than 2 hours later. But you know what? You don't ask for refunds? Good games. And it's nice when you get a good game that doesn't have, DRM attached to it.
Wait,
At
are
least
you trying
that's
to tell
some
me that
people's
Victor
opinions.
Vran is now available on Pirate Bay?
It is
yes,
now.
that too. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about GOG. It's available on GOG.com. You can get it DRM free. It's your usual $20. So you know what you're getting. We've already thrown shares at the game. If you don't remember, go back and watch it. It's a genuinely good game from the people who made Tropico.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job with the
months.
port. Give these people all your money. One thing I definitely want to know about is whether or not online multiplayer will work with Steam versions.
That is interesting. That's an interesting point. I don't seem to recall if online multiplayer was actually routed through Steam's multiplayer service, like you could join via the Steam menu and whatnot. I seem to remember that wasn't the case because I actually had to find you on one of the servers.
I remember we had issues with early on with Shank. Shank 2, and you couldn't play online until it was on Steam.
Apparently, yes, it does. You need to set up your unique CD key, which can be found in the account.
Okay.
Your account settings in GOG, but after you put in the CD key, you should be able to play it.
So,
but if you're completely anti-DRM and you're waiting for a DRM-free copy to be out, now your excuse is gone unless you're planning on
you can pirate it.
Yeah, just make sure that you're really against DRM because you want to play online and be awesome and cool sauce like that.
It's a proper fun game. It deserves the 3 cheers that it got. You should buy it and play it so this company makes more awesome games like this.
Yep.
And it's gone. Video game Kickstarter disappears with over 30,000 wet, stinky caches. Fortunately, it was only a hipster pixel game, so not all is lost. Actually, everything is lost. This from Kotaku,
yes.
And all that
How 4chan
business.
trolled 2 of its friends.
Basically, in December
4chan.
2013, gamers paid over 30,000 wet stinky to fund a Kickstarter game called Mansion Lord. This was also available for Linux. A month later, Mansion Lord creators opened a PayPal for additional funding. In 2014, after announcing the PayPal funding round was over, it simply noped up out. Here's some things. Pro tip, do not back a Kickstarter game unless they have a chinging demo, period. Seriously, we were getting shite hammered. You guys remember the days. It was 6 or 7 every other week. Go Kickstarter game, look at my Kickstarter game. Until we edited the requirements. You need to send us a demo, a functioning prototype or something, or we're not going to plug your Kickstarter. And that went, poof. Now we might get 1 or 2 real projects with actual game behind it versus, vaporware and shit like this. I do feel bad for the people.
They still don't provide a demo, though.
Yeah.
B-Man, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, was it a learning experience? I mean, I hate it for people that have lost the money, and there's not really much in the way of recourse with the Kickstarters.
I have a better idea. How about we stop with the whole Kickstarter thing for games? Because I backed 3 games on Kickstarter. I have 1 that I'm able to play currently.
Distance.
The other 2... No, Distance, I only got it on the Humbles when they set up after the Kickstarter. They got that Humble. Oh yeah, if you still give us $15 through this, you get early access all the same.
Then I bought the full one for you.
Yeah, I backed Carmageddon, Frontiers, and something else.
Wasteland?
That never really came out. No. It was something else. I can't even remember the name. But yeah, Frontiers, it's in early access right now. It's sort of kind of playable. Carmageddon will probably never come to Linux. And the other one, I've since forgotten its name, so it probably never came out either. Do not pay for promises. Pay for products. Because if you're paying for a promise, you're telling the developers that they don't need to finish the game in order to have your money.
And what we're saying, I mean, developers not inherently evil. This one was just kind of sketchy from the get-go, and that's something you got to use your spidey senses for, and you know, just a little bit of intelligence with, that Road Rash spiritual successor. We're still waiting on that Linux version that was supposed to come out 3 or 4 months ago, when we're like, oh yeah, we're releasing next. It hasn't happened yet. Yeah.
Right, that was it. Divinity.
Yeah.
Original.
Divinity. Yes, sure. Well, I mean, I disagree with Pedro to some extent. There, in the 3 odd years of Kickstarter's existence, there are companies that have proven that they are able to deliver on the Kickstarter promises. So really, that first wave was sort of a crapshoot. But now that the main players have established themselves, I mean, I feel bad for the people who got screwed out, or screwed out of their money. But ultimately, this is a teachable moment. And while Kickstarter for games does have its benefit, it does have its risks as well. But it's time to eat some cookies.
Nom nom nom. Yes. Oreos.
The Zoreos. It's version 0.0.3. They've nicknamed it Basila. That's a reference to Knights of the Old Republic.
Sean.
Yes. So there's a new bunch of stuff that they've made some script changes, and the rendering bits for the alpha channels and the reflection channels and all of that combined to actually make some properly rendered plate armors.
Wait, are these psychopaths trying to implement a BioWare engine?
Yes, it's the Aurora engine. It's the open source re-implementation of the Aurora engine, which runs Neverwinter Nights, KOTOR 1, and KOTOR 2.
Yeah, you had a stinky time with
actually the first Witcher 2.
Yes, the first Witcher is also an Aurora engine game. Yeah.
See, so The Witcher 1 is going to get a native port before Witcher 2. Good stuff. And I mean, these guys are proper mental. They're basically doing the same shit that Open Morrowind is doing, except it's a bit of a broader scope. It's closer to GemRB, which is the open source re-implementation of the Infinity engine. Yep. But I am for any project that attempts to extend the life of any game by re-implementing the engine so that it can be ported to different platforms and, stay alive, because these were fun games. Neverwinter Nights is fun. Knights of the Old Republic fun. It's good that these will live on beyond their crappy, outdated engines. But first we're going to rock, then we're going to roll, then we're going to let it pop.
DXX going to give it to you, baby.
Yeah! Yeah, no, I'm not going to say that part of the song because then we're going to get taken down from Twitch.
Right.
But, Descent. This is the open source. It's actually not a re-implementation. This is a sort of, it is a reimagination of the original Descent games. It's been an open source project for 10 years. They actually recently celebrated their 10-year anniversary, and people say that open source gaming is dead. And I mean, to be fair, like the guy says in his blog post, this is a passion project, and a lot of these open source games are passion projects. But I think that's really cool, and we should start encouraging people to actually get into game development this way by taking existing games, re-implementing them, finding out what they did wrong, and it's a good learning experience. And I really think these guys are like the true gamers. They're so motivated that they're actually going to go write
Well,
the
I guess
games.
we got to give a little scream to Parallax, because in 1998, the source code, they released it as non-commercial.
That's true. Yeah. So, and these guys originally added SDL and OpenGL backends. But this is just a cool thing. Check it out if you're into the Descent style games. If you played Retro Booster and were left lacking, hi Terry. He's not actually in the chat.
I mean, that was like the first 3 Degree of Freedom game I ever played, and it was just amazeballs. I was like, oh, this is so, we're living in the future. And you go back and look at it, I was like, but it's dated. And it's like, it's still a fun game, man. I mean, it was Doom 3D before Quake. P-Man, did you ever play that?
I never really got to play Descent, but I did play Stalker, or SDALKER.
Wow, Pedro, you can spell.
Those games.
It's like you can see through me, man.
Yeah, so this is X-Ray, or the Open X-Ray engine, which, again, is another engine re-implementation, this time for the Stalker games. Shadow of Chernobyl, Call of Pripyat, and the other one I can't remember the name of right now.
Clear Sky.
Clear Skies, yes. These games were buggy, to say the least, even in their original versions, and they have a sort of a cult following, myself included. I liked at least Shadow of Chernobyl very, very much. It was the only one I played, but it was a good game. It was just very dated for its time. It came out in 2007, and it looked like it should have come out in 2002. But these guys have actually gone out and said, you know what, we're going to make an OpenGL version of the engine, and we're going to make it truly multi-platform. And that's great. So I rushed to the GitHub page, and Visual Studio. I'm sure there's some clever people out there that can make it work with, good old GCC make, maybe. I'm far too lazy for that.
I bought the Stalker Complete back on some Steam winter sale eons ago. So I wonder if I'll actually finally get a chance to actually play the game, because this was before I had ditched Windows entirely. But one thing to keep in mind is once they get the OpenGL backend ported, that does not mean that you can start playing Stalker on your Linux boxes or your Macs, because porting the rendering backend is the first in a laundry list of
they
steps
say
to
that
port the
they're
game.
I mean, it looks like it's
handling,
going to be
memory
something
management, all that stuff.
Rohypnol in Chat Realm. It says it's also the guy behind this is also a developer for.
I think he was talking about the Descent game, DXX.
Yes.
Yeah, he was.
The guy behind Descent, the DXX, is also working on the Dolphin emulator. Good on him.
But I mean, it's cool that they're doing this, and yeah, throw you guys just some support if you're gonna. Anyone who actually wants to take on the task of moving their Visual Studio build system to something like CMake or good old fashioned regular Make, good luck with that. But up next, we go under the sea because it's better down where it's wetter, and we throw some chairs at Soma. I'm sitting in something wet. I'm also playing Soma by Frictional Games. We're throwing the chairs at it today. Woohoo! This was actually ported by the same guy who ported Shadow Warrior, so it should be some good stuff. This is on the Howard Phillips Lovecraft Engine III. It's priced at in and around $30, regardless of your individual currency. And what is it? From the creators of Amnesia: The Dark Descent comes Soma, a sci-fi horror game set below the waves of the Atlantic Ocean, with no Cthulhu who struggle to survive in a hostile world. That will make you question your very existence. It really doesn't do that. But we have our CHAIRQUISITION. 1 chair means that it's garbage, 2 chairs means that it's meh, 3 chairs means that it's pretty good, and 4 chairs means that it's awesome sauce. We also got a categories of Doom mixed with the working shiny sounds, controls, and fun. So let's kick this off. Then, did it make with the working?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's nighty night time. Too spooky for your edition. This is Soma. How does it work on the Ubuntu 14.04? 980 powered 4K displayed. SSD YOLO RAID octo-core box of the business. Well, once you visit, and I quote, local share frictional game Soma main, your name, user settings config, get rid of the limit FERPs and change that to false, then you can get 120 plus FERPs at 1080 with everything on 11. 4K, it's around 45 FERPs, and it kind of eliminates a little bit of the horrible screen tearing that is currently present, even if you have your business set on adaptive. This might just be an issue with DisplayPort, but J-Man also experienced it. But I'm just going to be honest with you. Out of the box, it wants to run at 30, but if you put it at adaptive without doing this moon magic technology of like going in there and editing config, and I think that's just bad form, it'll run at 60 because it'll run at whatever your refresh rate is, and even at 60, the tearing is kind of bad. So I'm going to have to ding it a chair for that. I'm going to give it 3 chairs for the makes and the workings.
Yes, I did the same fix that, what's his name? Ben. That's the guy who I work with. What Ben did to unlimit the frame rate. And yeah, really, if your game requires you to go edit a configuration file to get like some basic functionality working, -1 chair. But on the Fedora 21 powered AMD 1090T with the GTX 980 and the 4K display of awesomeness, this thing averages about 45 to 50 FPS with everything on 11 at 4K. I mean, sometimes when you're going through a complicated scene, it tries to figure out what it's trying to do. Frame rate drops.
You totally said complicated semen.
Yes. Yes, he did.
Show title.
Complicated semen. I love it. That's a sound clip for you. I did enable GL threaded optimizations for a brief test. I'll tell you about that later. But the moral of the story is don't fucking do it. So for all that, I'll give it 3 chairs for mixed to working.
Yeah, just to reiterate, you turn VSync off, the FERPs cap out at 30. You turn it to adaptive or on and set the refresh rate according to your monitor, and you can have your FERPs. That's just fine. Or you can go into the config file and remove the frame limiter. The screenshots, I actually tried to grab a screenshot when I finished the game.
Haha.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, they're racist.
Nope, it's just black. Just a black screen is all you're getting. I wanted to get one, but it didn't work. So for me, on the Corora 2164-bit Amiga, sitting by my foot here with a GTX 970 Strix and the AMD FX 8370E overclocked at 4.2 gigahertz, running off of the RAID 0. Keep that in mind. It'll be important later on. It gets 3 chairs.
Actually, I tried replicating Pedro's screenshot issue, and it only works for Steam overlay screenshots where it turns out all black. If you do it through your desktop environment, it comes out perfectly fine.
Yeah, it comes out fine.
So up next is Shiny and Sounds.
So that's 3 chairs.
Yeah, 3 chairs. 3 chairs, yes.
Yes.
Because I can have. Shiny and Sounds, Ben.
Okay, well, when you first start this off, we're not going to spoil it, but you're not where you think you're going to be, and those graphics are a bit Half-Life 2 level business. Seriously, even with the cables, we can take a look here. Yeah, they're kind of low count polygon business, but we don't really worry about that because I love Frictional and they've been good to us, but this is LinuxGameCast, so we got to be honest. Having a 30 to 60 FERPs lock on the PC tells me you spent more time optimizing for 3-year-old laptop hardware versus actual gaming machines. Our PC version is almost definitely a backport from their PS4 build. Like Frictional, their titles, they do focus on your ear pussies with the sound organs. It's amazing, the atmosphere in this. You can take everything I just said about the graphics and go, this could have been non-textured whatever, and you're going to have a good time. I mean, it does what Frictional does best, and it doesn't hold down your note button. It pushes it down, puts tape over it, put super glue on top of that tape, and you're just sitting there the entire time. If you've ever played a Frictional game, you know something's out there to skullfuck you, and that's exactly how you feel almost 99% of the damn time. And that more than makes up for the less than stellar visuals. So for the Shiny and Sounds, I'm going to have to give this 3. It's kind of brilliant.
Oh yeah, no, the sound design of this game is the high point Frictional excels at just telling your brain, nope, fucking get away from there. It's terrifying. It's awful. The voice acting is a bit of all right. Some of the line reads can get a bit cringy at the time, but for the most part, the acting is competent, to say the least. The second or third time I launched the game, I was getting some serious pulse audio underruns, so I set the pulse latency MSEC to 60 to inject 60 milliseconds of delay in between pulse audio sync, and it sorted that out. While I did that, I also, as I mentioned in the Makes with Working segment, I turned on GL-threaded optimizations, and holy mother, a screen-tearing Batman.
Yep.
That game is not meant for a multi-core GPU. Whoa, no. Everything is all over the place, and it is bad. Frame rates drop significantly. Take that out, everything returns back to normal, and your experience is nice and stable. But that is not to be mistaken with the glitchy effect that constantly occurs with any game where you're a robot, because, yeah, that random pixelation, that means computer glitch. And like Ben said, the graphics are pretty dated, but they do get the job done. It's not going to win them any style points, but it's not going to lose them anything either. So, 3 chairs.
Yeah, during the very last scene, I'm not sure if the graphical flickering was on purpose or just a fuck up with the Linux version. Either way,
come on, think about how the game starts loading. You're like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Either way, it seems to have issues when I force it into virtual 5.1 surround because of this headset. Because this uses Fmod for the audio, and Fmod is it simply refuses to use pulse audio, so it has to use ALSA, which means you're stuck with the ALSA plugin for pulse audio, which is what's causing the underruns. Now, for me, I didn't actually do the pulse latency MSEC 60. I just opened up PAVU control, disabled the headset, turned it back on with the game still running, and it was working just fine after that. The textures for the graphics are definitely low res. The poly count on some of the models is so low, you probably have enough digits to count them with. And the faux tearing / glitching is enough to trigger my OCD. It's not pretty. That said, like Ben and Jordan already mentioned, the ambient noises and background music were balls to the walls amazing. I'm guessing that if they actually push the graphics all the way up to today's standards, they, instead of a 22 or 25 gig game, you'd get like a 50 gig one. And I don't know. It's a frictional game. Their level design is amazingly well done, just like Amnesia before it and Penumbra before that. Even at such low graphical quality, all the environments are still stupidly incredibly detailed. Even while you're roaming around at the bottom of the ocean, it's still really good. So, with those issues in mind, it gets 3 chairs.
Cool. So that's 3 chairs for Shiny and Sounds. Up next is Control. This is going to be a long, detailed segment, isn't it, Ben?
Let's see if we can get this done in under a minute. This does apparently work with the Xclone controller because, it detects everything, and if I hit the buttons, it does the thing. If you play a game like this with the controller, maybe this might be a good sit-back experience for your Steam box, and unfortunately, I'm not doing that. I got 28 inches of 4K awesome in front of my face organ. Standard dribble, keyboard, mouse fair, everything works. Can't get the flashlight to work, but that's kind of a common problem, but not going to fault him for that because it's Amnesia. It's Soma, we're just going to call it Soma, from Frictional Games. It's not Doom 3. I would never really want a flashlight. So, 4 chairs.
Yeah, the flashlight thing worked fine for me. I don't know what Ben's talking about. He's a crazy person. But yeah, if you played one Amnesia game, you know how to play this. They all control the same. I like the gestury control thing because it really emphasizes just sort of how you have to interact with the world. It's good stuff. 4 chairs.
There we go.
Yep, it's your standard first-person type game controller layout. And me, like Jordan, I didn't have any issues with the flashlight. In fact, if you see my mouse, this button right here, it's set to the F key on my keyboard. So just hitting that button, it turns on the flashlight. Hitting it again, turns it off. It works. 4 chairs.
You heard it right here, folks. Pedro's hand, scarier than Soma. 4 chairs for controls. Up next is our final category, fun. Ben, did you enjoy yourself? Did you have a spooky time?
All right. Like you said, full disclosure, they gave us copies of this. Unlike last time, we didn't get them until after release. I was kind of thinking, I was like, are you kidding? But they did release a blog, and they clearly said we selectively chose certain people to give copies of this game to. And considering we're basically the only site that does Linux game reviews, it's like, all right, Brad, still love you guys, but let's talk about the fun. We're not going to be spoilery on this, so I'm kind of dodging around some things. The robot thingies, are they supposed to be scary? Because last time I checked, minor annoyances did not hit that box of booga booga. These are things that are brain dead stupid, which is kind of ironic because this is all about the AI and all that. And, you know, I'm supposed to be playing the game and I'm fucking with these guys. I was like, I'm over here now. Come on, give me. And it's like, I'm jumping over you. Can you figure out where I'm at now? Here it comes. So here I go up the stairs. But I guess it's come down. I mean, you know, I was kind of shitting on the visuals and all that, but the audio makes up for the visuals, and the visuals are completely detailed for the engine and a game that they started work on 5 years ago. I kind of fell in love with this game where one of the mechanical robot thingies, we'll just call him Bob, was trapped, and he was like, oh, help me, and I don't know. What do you mean? I'm just perfectly fine. I can look at my hands and all that. And I walked around and I was like, what happens when I pull down this lever? And he was like, oh, God, it hurts, the pain, the pain. And I pulled it back up, put it back down. And I was like, we're just going to leave it like that, like this. Want to give it an extra chair for that. And if you're wondering, yes, I am a horrible human being. Because those screams were satisfying, you know? I mean, it kind of made that. I think I got about 2 hours into it. Unlike P-Man, I have not finished it. I plan on finishing it, but I am so not joking when I say this is what is it, audio experience. Yeah, if you play this, because I was doing some game capture for the review, if you don't have your headphones on, you're running around doing that, it's like, meh. As soon as you put your headphones onto your ear pussies, you're like, woo, then you're in the environment. Even though the graphics are slightly dated, it's not completely busted, not completely hooked, and they do what they do, and this is the 7th time they've done it. I know a lot of people are like, but the Chinese Room did Machine Forbidden. Well, they backed that game and supported it. So yeah, this is like the 7th version of kind of the same game. It's not horrible, but it didn't really add anything. There's a story in it, but anybody that can count past potato, I like that new word.
Potato.
Take a shot. You'll know
this. There are potations in the audience.
In the first 30 minutes, you'll go, oh, I got it. I know exactly what's going on here. So I have to give it 2 cheers. Not out of hate, not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that's what I've experienced in my first 2 arms.
Okay, so I was a bit shocked when the game started, and I start hearing and seeing mentions of a bunch of Toronto landmarks. Turns out that the main character is a Toronto native, which is odd because the subway trains that you go on look absolutely nothing like TTC trains whatsoever. Good on them for getting the.
What would you know about Toronto trains, son?
Whoa! What I know about Toronto? I live in Vancouver. Yes, but good on them for getting the train stations in order, and nice touch with the little CN Tower in the background when you look out the window in the main world. But here's where the game falls flat. The monster isn't scary. It kind of reminds me of a screenshot or a street shark, not a screenshot. And iParkour, the first time you run into it, you can literally just jump over it. It sort of takes away the threat when you can literally just like plant your foot on its head and leap over it.
You want to jump over? It's like wee.
It's like wee. Yeah. I mean, and a lot of the plot surprises are telegraphed pretty hard. This isn't like a brain-blowing story. But I mean, the creepy atmosphere is what it promises, and it sure as hell delivers on it. And really, that's where the game's strength is keeping you on edge up until the point where you get to these monsters and these obstacles. Because Frictional is awesome at teasing it and getting you really, really hyped up, but then really, really bad at actually delivering the content there. And ultimately, this game fails to capture the true horror of living in Canada. 2 chairs.
Yeah, so I have a slightly different opinion than these two heathens. I like the horror genre. I like it a lot. My second all-time favorite game is Silent Hill 2. Yeah. So, with Soma specifically, having the game take place at the bottom of the ocean, right off the coast of Portugal, and in this game, the protagonist was born on July 16th. It's a pretty surefire way to get me immersed in more ways than one, because, underwater. Yeah.
I just thought you wanted to live in Toronto, but go ahead.
But, yeah, much like Ven at the start of the game, I was like, this isn't very scary. And then came the very first scene that made me feel bad about my actions. It was about halfway through. You get a robot where you get the choice whether or not to unplug her or it from the one of the healing things. And I'm like, I don't need to do this, but yeah, why not? I pulled it off and I hear her going, it's like, okay, yeah, I didn't need to do this. And then...
Did you run back, plug it in for a minute, and be like, psych?
I'm just fucking with you. Or am I?
I start reading the flavor text that you get on the terminals and on the PDAs and everything else, and I'm like, oh, that robot I just killed was actually okay. And then you get a reveal of what's going on with your main character and what his role in the whole thing is, and I'm like, oh, and it like Fed and Jordan already mentioned that what Frictional does well is atmosphere, and even though Soma doesn't have that overbearing atmosphere that Amnesia: The Dark Descent does, it kind of, the way that everything seems so much lighter when it comes to the atmosphere can easily be justified with that very same information that you get about your protagonist and what is going on around you. Seeing, well, you get to a part of the game where you actually get to boot up a simulation type thing. I won't say what, because spoilers, but seeing the prototype boot up and the whole Mount-O loop, whatevs command, it just kind of put a big old grin on my face. That was really nice. The big philosophy behind Frictional's games has always been that what it means to be human. It's always had that undertone to them, from Penumbra's, all 3 of them, to Amnesia: The Dark Descent, and even Soma. And I feel with this game in particular, they've nailed the moral conundrums that we would face in such a situation. The only real issue that I had with the game itself, outside of the technical kerfuffles that we've already mentioned, is how much of a Canadian dude bra douchebag the protagonist is. He's a goddamn fucking idiot. I suppose it's good to have a bit of variance on the whole amnesiac in a scary place trope, but considering how many horror genre tropes this game relies on, maybe having that wouldn't be so bad when you're stuck with that fucking idiot. I mean, for the most part, I could relate to what Simon was doing and what he was thinking about. Then, right at the end, I just wanted to reach into the game and slap that power suit so hard until the gel inside it hardened. I felt bad for something I had done in the sector, not the very last sector, but the one before that, because he just makes such a stupid fucking remark that, why did I do that then? Why would I go to the trouble of actually doing that if you're just going to be an ass right at the end of it? But the fact is that the game managed to make me feel very strongly about what Simon was doing and what Catherine was doing. If a game gets me to care about an idiot and his fucking idiocy, it's certainly praiseworthy. For the fun, for me, it gets 4 chairs.
You know, I say that about Pedro all the time. That's 2 chairs for fun. And we're going to wrap this up. It's 3 chairs total for all things together. So, gentlemen, final thoughts.
Okay, so 3 chairs. Having a game like this, which has like moral issues, is probably not the best game to give us because we're kind of devoid of morals. I'll just go ahead and get that out of the way. And it's kind of expensive because, hey, bro, PS4, bro, we want that on the store for that price, and that's what they sell for, and they'll get that monies. You might want to wait until this goes down to the regular price of $9.99 or $19.99, somewhere in there, then just go ahead and pick it up. When it comes to the too spooky for you factor, then it's an Amnesia game. You know what you're going to get. For me personally, I think Machine for Pigs, up until we all hit that one spot of where the pig got trapped, up until that point. Yeah,
You're
your
just
brain
going to
will
stay there?
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, you were just putting shit together. You're like, oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck, I think I know what's about to happen and what's going on and with the kids and all. This, like I said, in like the first 30, 40 minutes, you're like, I know exactly what's going on here. And yeah, that's definitely a thing. Don't hate it, but it can be a bit short. I think completion time for most people is between 5 and 8 ons. If they're playing through it and, not trying to speed run it, it does definitely have some graphical issues and glitches, but they have been actively working to get those sorted. It's not like they're ignoring Linux, so definitely good on them again. P-Man?
Yeah, for me, this game took me about 10 hours to finish because I actually went out of my way to try and do every single little bit, learn as much as possible about the world and everything else.
Anyone who's watched Pedro play Trine, he will go in every fucking corner of the game.
It tickles the completionist side of me. So yeah, I went around, I explored everything I could, I read all the text entries and terminals and everything else. It took me about 10 hours. I did the exact same thing with Amnesia: The Dark Descent, and I still finished that game in like 5 hours. So yeah, I think it's justified. If you like the horror genre and you like getting yourself immersed into the game and actually learning everything you can through the eyes of the protagonist, yeah, it's worth the $30 or 28 euros, whatever it is. If you're not, though, this game will not change your mind.
Hebrew Hammer, give it to me. Final thoughts.
Yeah, no, talking about immersion, it does a pretty good job about that. But I do say that living in Canada is a lot scarier than living under the sea, because instead of robot monsters chasing you, you have Sandy. And I have legitimate reasons to be scared of Sandy. Like, the robots are rock stupid. I know Sandy is more than capable of killing my ass. But yeah, no, it does what these frictional games do well, and they have a fairly consistent track record for this. Like these guys said, $30 is a bit steep. Certainly wait for it to go on sale. Yeah, it is an experience. It's one of these games that feels like playing through a movie. Not necessarily a very like artsy and unpredictable movie, but still a movie nonetheless. Very cinematic. I enjoyed it for what it was. Yeah, pick it up. And up next, people's faces melt off, and we talk about lead hacking.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's the hate mail. If you'd like to get in touch with us, if you don't know at this point, shame on you. LinuxGameCast, contact button, fill the form. It's easy. All you have to do is read, especially if you're trying to promote a game. Because if you don't send us keys or a prototype or a demo, we'll just make fun of you. All right. Okay, so apparently last week we had talked about a little trainer, universal trainer for Linux games.
Get your ass Instaban on Steamatron 9000.
Yep, the one. And apparently the developer of UG Train was watching the show because he got in touch with us, Mr. Sebastian. And he said, "Thank you very much for showing my Linux game cheating tool UG Train at 3553. Oh, you actually got the timestamp. Okay. It isn't that user-friendly yet, as I have to research all the methods, The cracking groups don't tell you how it works, and methods used on Windows don't really work on Linux, where you have a fast binary variation. It is planned to hijack Game Conqueror and to replace ScanMem backend with a UG-train backend for a GUI. Well, that was a sentence. As long as Floss games show new things, there is enough to do. I'm opening up English. I'm opening up the really working cheating methods for education purposes and the challenge. Yes, users usually abuse it against Steam first.
No,
You don't say!
It's kind of what we were talking about. I was talking about, like, this is a good way to get Instaband on Steam. Never use this, only use this as a learning tool. And he kind of got back to us. P.S. I knew that Steam sends out crash dumps without asking, but that it gets detected by Valve anti-cheat is new to me. Some people were stupid enough to send them crash dumps with UG Train library visible. So it has to hide them better. LinuxGameCast, challenge accepted. He is...
Gotta hand it to the guy. He's clearly motivated. Clearly motivated.
What was this guy, like a kernel developer or some shit?
Yeah, apparently.
Huh.
Yeah, he is. And he added me on LinkedIn. I'm like, okay, so let's do some snooping around his profile. Oh, kernel developer. Ooh. This guy is kind of a big deal in the open source world, so...
Subsequently, I love the mentality of it's like, do not Linux Gamecast shot realmers use this on Steam, and he's like, we probably disguise this a little better so it wouldn't be picked up so well. Challenge accepted, bitches. Kind of like that. Do not use this on Steam, ladies and gentlemen. If you do not, like he said, be stupid enough to send the business. J-Man, you got any thoughts on this?
I was actually surprised you wouldn't even reason that these crash dumps get sent to Steam. That just seems like a significant oversight. Steam gets all sorts of reporting on their platform because they want to stop cheaters, that people use their damn service. But, it's cool that he reached out back to us, and it's cool that we're widening our network of developers that will listen to things that we have to say. But up next, this is from Doog. And he says, have you ever noticed that it's impossible to search for the show at all on Patreon's website? Just go to patreon.com and search for Linux Gamecast. And it never finds LGC.
Linux
I did notice that.
Linux game, just Linux, it never finds it.
So I did notice that, as a matter of fact, back when we set up the page many moons ago. I just figured we hadn't gotten indexed at the time. But as it turns out, Ven has found the more titillating solution to that problem.
I used ancient wisdom from billions of years ago in the future's past by doing a simple mothering Google search. Why is my page not? So apparently, here's the thing with the Patreons. Now, early in the show, if you're like fast forwarding ahead, we covered the hack and all that, and it was nasty business, but we still support, the husband and wife team behind Patreon because they think they're doing a good job, and it's probably going to be like the safest fucking place from now on. But, it's Linux Gamecast. So when you're like posting your thing and setting up your account, it's like, oh, is your show not safe for work? P-Man, what do you think? Maybe we shouldn't be broadcast over a live speak in the audience?
Well, if you're in Portugal, no one gives a damn because most people don't even understand basic English. So, I don't know. I'm not
Just
the best
like
person
Pedro.
to ask.
Well, it turns out that you should only use the NSFW tag if, and they kind of laid it out. Like, we understand that some people, like some of the best images and have their artful nudes and stuff like that, you should only use the NSFW tag if you have nudity of any type. And with the possible exception of Sandman, we don't have a whole lot of nudity on our show. Actually,
we can fix that.
Yes, but we're not going to, because we have now, as of since, removed our NSFW tag. And I know.
You gotta ruin all my fun, Ven.
Son, we've sold out. We're part of the man now. I'll give you that business, but we...
And I can prove it, Zip.
Nope.
No one wants to see
And,
that, Jordan. Put it away.
Aw. Well, you gotta donate to the Patreon if you want me to put it away. That's how this shit works.
Hit on that bombshell. Let's cue the music. You can always find us around 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Get in the chat room. Join us. Scream in our direction so we can scream back at you. Send us a hate mail. Keep being awesome like you know you are. Part of the LGC armies. I'm at Vin Stone on the Twitter net. You can always hit me there. Plus Vin Stone on the G Pluses, and I will get back to you.
I'm Jordan Spung. You can find me stripping online at the Burning Pool on Twitter, plus Scrippin, yeah. Or plus Jordan Spung on the Google Plus.
Are they hating?
You know, I thought I was the one who made the most mistakes on accounts of not being a native English speaker. I don't feel so bad tonight. I am Pedro Mateos. You can find me at unaccounted4 on Twitter or plus Pedro Mateos on Google Plus.
And just remember, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you beautiful people, that Seaman is complicated.
Complicated
Seaman!
The complicated Seaman.
Oh, shut your mouth.
With the 5 minutes.
Shut your whole mouth.
Bitch, I don't know your laugh.
Hey, man, Seaman's complicated. He's like Shaft, son.
Nobody understands him but his goldfish.
You never go past a trout, son.
5 dudes.